This evening, our lead story involves a serious crime at a wedding house in Canal Number 2 Polder, West Bank Demerara on All Year's Day. Two men were charged with murder and attempted murder. We'll discuss the details of the tragic event that led to the death of Natram Prasad and the critical injury of Manipal Rambarak, as well as the court proceedings and the future court dates. In a tragic traffic incident, a couple died following a two-vehicle smash-up on Rhymesville Public Road. We'll provide insights into the collision involving a motor car and a minibus, the critical condition of the motor car driver, and the ongoing investigation into this accident. Turning to community development, residents of Kitty Georgetown are set to benefit from various training and employment opportunities. We'll cover the engagement with government ministers who address the community youths about opportunities in their respective ministries. In international news, Ecuador's president has declared a state of emergency after the escape of a notorious gang leader, Jose Adolfo Marquez, from prison. We'll examine the implications of this escape and the police manhunt for Marquez, who was serving a 34-year sentence. Finally, we'll report on the political scenes in Bangladesh, where Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has won a fourth consecutive term. The election was notable for the absence of meaningful opposition, with the Nationalist Party boycotting the vote. We'll explore the context and implications of this election results. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 9, 2024. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, two men who invaded a wedding house on All Year's Day at Canal Number 2 Polder, West Bank Demerara, and killed one and injured another during a robbery were remanded to prison when they appeared at the Vredenhoek Magistrates Court on Monday, January 8. 35-year-old Otto Pittman of School Street, Good Fortune, West Bank Demerara, and Oliver Franklin of Parfait Harmony, West Bank Demerara, appeared before Magistrate Faith Magusti, where the charge of murder of Natram Prasad, known as Vishal, and the attempted murder committed on Manipal Rambarak were read to them. They were not required to plea and were both remanded. The court heard at around 8:50 p.m. on All Year's Night, masked male bandits, one armed with a handgun, invaded the wedding house. Rambarak, seated at the entrance, was targeted by the armed suspect, who discharged 2 rounds, robbing him of his gold band. Prasad chased the suspects, engaging in a scuffle, during which a gunshot was heard, resulting in Prasad falling to the ground. The bandits fled east of the Canal Number 2 Polder access road. Rambarak and Prasad were found with gunshot injuries and rushed for medical attention. Rambarak underwent surgery at the Woodlands Hospital and was listed in critical condition, while Prasad was pronounced dead on arrival at the West Demerara Regional Hospital. The duo will return to Wales Magistrates Court on February 7, 2024. Moving on, a couple is now dead following a two-vehicle smash-up on the Rhymesville Public Road in the vicinity of the Rhymesville Police Station on Monday, January 8. Dead is 51-year-old Sarah Wilson of Samata Point, Grove, East Bank, Demerara, and her husband, Ron McKenzie. The incident, which involved McKenzie's bus and a motor car, occurred around 5:23 a.m. on Monday. The motor car PAD 2118 was at the time being driven by 29-year-old Prem C. Charan of Bellevue, West Bank, Demerara, while the minibus BHH 8451 was driven by Mackenzie of Samata Point. Preliminary investigations revealed that the motor car was proceeding south on the eastern lane of the Rhymesville Public Road, allegedly at a fast rate. While in the vicinity of Top Point Store, the driver of the car was negotiating a slight bend, and in the process of doing so, the left side front of the motor car came in contact with a pile of sand situated on the eastern side of the road. The car then collided with a bridge. This caused the motor car to flip several times onto the western carriageway, subsequently colliding with the front portion of the minibus, which was heading in the opposite direction. As a result, the drivers of both vehicles and the minibus passengers all sustained injuries to their bodies. Wilson, along with the driver of the car, were both picked up by EMTs and transported to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where the woman was pronounced dead on arrival by the medical staff. Mackenzie later succumbed to his injuries. Citroen's condition was listed as critical. The other occupants of the minibus were treated and sent away. Further investigations are in progress. In similar news, two friends lost their lives Monday night following an accident involving their motorcycle and a car along the Courtland Public Road, Quarantine, Berbice. The dead men have been identified as 35-year-old Javed Mohammed, the owner and rider of motorcycle CM2728, and 29-year-old Harry Narain Chattergoon, the pillion rider. Reports said that around 10:30 p.m., the car, PAC 3786, driven by a GPL engineer, was heading west along the road and the motorcycle was proceeding in the opposite direction. The motorcycle slammed head-on into the car. As a result, the two were flung from the motorcycle and onto the road. They were subsequently picked up in an unconscious state by the police and taken to the Port Moran Public Hospital, where Mohammed was pronounced dead. Chattergoon was receiving treatment but opted for self-discharge. He admitted himself at the Ahmaya Hospital but subsequently succumbed to his injuries there. A breathalyzer test was conducted on the driver of the car, but no trace of alcohol was found. Meanwhile, an investigation is underway. Stick around when we return. Tragic collision claims life of 25-year-old motorcyclist on number 9 Public Road, and Kitty residents embrace government's commitment of employment opportunities for youth.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors OLE. If you will be 18 years or over by December 31, 2023, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors PLE for all registration divisions at popular locations across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration if you are not listed, change correction to your particulars if they are incorrect, or object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Monday the 15th of January 2024. 2024. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Monday, the 22nd of January 2024. All GCOM registration offices will be open Mondays to Fridays from 8 hours to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 hours to 14 hours. For further information, contact GCOM at 225-0278-9 or visit our website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Police are investigating a fatal accident on the number 9 public road, West Coast Berbice, which resulted in the death of a 25-year-old motorcyclist on Monday, January 9th. Dead is Ricardo Bipta of Bath Settlement Village, East Coast Berbice, who was driving a motorcycle at the time of the incident. Inquiries disclosed that around 10:22 p.m., motor lorry GSS 9769, driven by a 46-year-old resident of Lion Path, Quarantine, Berbice, was proceeding east along the northern side of the road, while motor car PLL 6437, driven by a 42-year-old of Woodley Park Village, West Coast, Berbice, was proceeding in the same direction behind the lorry. The car was in the process of overtaking the lorry and ended up in the path of the motorcyclist, who was proceeding in the opposite direction. The car collided with the motorcyclist. As a result of the collision, the motorcyclist ended up north, where a further collision occurred with the lorry. As a result of the collision, the motorcyclist fell and received injuries. He was picked up in an unconscious condition and taken to the Fort Wellington Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The body is at the Anthony's Funeral Home awaiting a post-mortem examination. Both drivers, the lorry and the car drivers, were arrested and taken to the Fort Wellington Police Station, where they were placed in custody and the vehicles were lodged at the station. Breathalyzer tests were conducted on both drivers, and the results indicated no trace of alcohol in their system. Investigations are continuing. In other news, the residents of Kitty, Georgetown are set to benefit from various training and employment opportunities following an engagement with 4 government ministers, including Joseph Hamilton, Minister of Labour, Charles Ramson Jr., Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, Deodat Indar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, and Kwame McCoy, Minister within the Ministry of the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for public affairs. The meeting was held on Monday at the intersection of Alexander and William Street, Kitty. In a follow-up visit to President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali's meeting, the ministers addressed the community youths to discuss available opportunities within their respective ministries. Residents expressed gratitude for the government's intervention and commitment to improving the lives of Kitty youths, emphasizing the potential positive impact on employment and skill development. The ministers encouraged the youth to seize the opportunity presented and contribute to the country's development. Don't go away after the break. Bangladesh election, claimed opposition supporters beaten and abused, and massive Russian missile attack hits Ukraine amid escalating aerial strikes.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneak in with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors OLE. If you will be 18 years or over by December 31st, 2023, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors PLE in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you are required to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Monday, 15 January 2024 is the last day on which you can apply for a transfer. For further information, contact GCOM at 225-0278-9 or visit our website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. The president of Ecuador has declared a state of emergency after a notorious gang leader escaped from prison on Sunday. Police have launched a manhunt for Jose Adolfo Marquez. He was serving a 34-year sentence for drug trafficking and murder. Al Jazeera's Alexandra Rampietti reports.
This is Jose Adolfo Macias, better known as Fito, the leader of the powerful Los Choneros gang in Ecuador. He was serving a long sentence for murder, drug trafficking, and organized crime in this maximum security prison in the port city of Guayaquil. But on Sunday, when soldiers raided the center as part of a government crackdown, authorities said he was nowhere to be found. The government launched a major operation to recapture him, so far with no results.
In an operation involving more than 3,000 people, the prison has been raided in search of the most wanted prisoner, and the operation continues.
A notorious criminal suspected of having played a role in the assassination of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio last year, Fito has often defied authorities. He has escaped prison before and recently appeared in this music video, partly filmed inside the jail and sung by his daughter, glorifying his criminal exploits. Following Fito's escape, incidents have been reported in several prisons across the country. Inmates were seen standing on roofs as they held prison guards hostage inside, threatening them with knives.
Mr. President, please reconsider your decisions. Don't let yourself be driven by impulses and false expectations.
This is the first major prison crisis for the recently elected President Daniel Noboa, a banana empire heir with little political experience who took over in November, promising to reduce violence. On Monday, he announced a 2-month state of emergency.
What we are seeing in the country's prisons is the result of our decision to confront them. That is why the government has taken actions that will allow us to regain control of the prisons that have been lost in recent years.
But some analysts say the president's plan is failing.
It seems like they are facing the crisis repeating the same recipe of the previous government. It has been proven that declaring the state of emergency is not an efficient way to contain crime. Homicides keep growing in Ecuador, and there is a risk that we will remain the most violent country in Latin America in 2024.
In recent years, Ecuador has been living through an unprecedented security crisis fueled by drug trafficking and that authorities have failed to address. These latest developments seem to suggest more troubles ahead. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera.
Internationally, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has won a fourth consecutive term in an election marred by the absence of any meaningful opposition. The Nationalist Party boycotted the vote, saying more than 25,000 of its leadership and supporters are in jail. Al Jazeera's Jonah Hall reports.
Fazlur Rahman died in hospital while in police custody 2 weeks ago. His widow believes he was tortured and didn't receive proper care.
The government is responsible. They tortured my husband and I want justice, but I don't expect it from them.
Above the bed, a megaphone, no longer in use, the essential equipment of an activist member of the opposition BNP. Beside her, television news declares the victory of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The BNP boycotted the election after thousands of its local leaders, like Fazlur, were jailed, charged with fomenting pre-election violence. The Prime Minister now describes the party with whom she's vied for power for decades as a terrorist organisation. This is the headquarters building of the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party. As you can see, it's locked and shuttered and has been since last October, when the police described it as a crime scene. It's hard to imagine a parallel like the Republican Party in the United States or, say, Britain's Labour Party, completely shut down.
They did that by somehow putting everyone who could take a decision into jail.
Tawhid Hossain was Foreign Secretary under a neutral caretaker government in the mid-2000s. He says all semblance of democratic order in Bangladesh has broken down.
It was sort of a one-party election. Just like
today, sort of a one-party state?
I think we are very close to a one-party state.
This woman is a BNP local leader, arrested and badly beaten by plainclothes police at a demonstration 2 months ago.
When they couldn't drag me into the waiting car, they hit me on my arms. One of them said, "Shoot her on the spot." Another person said, "Cut her tongue out. We don't need to kill her."
She lost a tooth but got away with her life. For Bangladesh, the price is democracy itself. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
And finally, at least 4 people have been killed across Ukraine in what authorities describe as a large-scale Russian missile attack. Ukraine says 59 cruise and ballistic missiles were fired at Russian forces, and it intercepted 29 of them. Al Jazeera's Assad Beish reports.
Pulled from the rubble following yet another day of strikes carried out by the Russian military. Ukrainian authorities say cities across the country were targeted. In Zaporizhia, a residential building was damaged, forcing its residents out into the freezing cold.
I saw that there was going to be an air raid and bombing, so we quickly ran to the bomb shelter. Later we got a phone call and found out what happened to the building. But we were in shelter at 7 a.m. If we were at home, nothing good would come out of it.
Rescue workers delivered aid and told residents they would cover the blown-out windows. In Kyiv, residents rushed to shelters, but there were no reports of any missiles hitting targets in the capital. This has become a regular occurrence when air raid sirens are sounded. Last month, Kyiv was hit, killing more people across the capital. In Kryvyi, 1 woman was killed and children were among the wounded. Authorities there say a shopping centre and residential buildings were hit. Ukraine says 59 cruise and ballistic missiles as well as drones were fired by Russian forces. It claims 26 were intercepted. More than half managed to get through. Ukraine has not said whether any of its military sites were hit or if it suffered any military losses. Since December 29th, there's been an increase of aerial attacks carried out by both sides, and there's no sign that there will be a let-up in strikes anytime soon. Assad Beg, Al Jazeera, Kyiv.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 30-minute forecast. And that's Safe TV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.